So this is a stretch primarily for people who have a hard time getting a solid contraction in their upper back. So the goal anytime you're trying to get a contraction in your upper back is to get the elbows as far behind your shoulders as you can and get the shoulder blades to pinch together. You want to be able to keep the chest lifted up relatively high and get a strong contraction back here. If there's limitations in muscles on the front side of the body, so your upper chest and anything that needs to be relatively open when you go into this position here, you're going to be somewhat limited on how strong of a contraction you can get. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at a couple of options for stretching out your upper portion of your pec, so your pec minor, and then your external rotators to get into this position. There's three different ways that you can do it. One of them requires a partner, so we'll save that one for the end, and then the other two you can do on your own. The first one, you basically just need something, a rack, a door frame, to brace your arms on. So you're basically, so if the goal is to get into this position, but you get a lot of resistance from the front side of the body, then basically what we're going to do is try to go into that position right here. So I'm turning my thumbs to face behind me. I'm going to bring my elbows just a little bit above my shoulders, and then all I'm going to do is just push my chest forward and try to contract my upper back. I'm going to hold the stretch for around 10 seconds, maybe a little bit longer. You want to do it without getting a big arch in your back. The goal isn't to throw your belly into it, you just want to lean your chest into it. You want a hard stretch, but you don't want to go crazy with the intensity. So you'll do it for 10-15 seconds. You can just retest how strong of a contraction you can get back here. And then you can go at it a couple of times. You want to be able to go until you can get your elbows behind your back pretty solidly. So that's option number one. You should feel, like I said, a pretty strong stretch from front of the clavicle to the other side. The other option will be to use some sort of a resistance band. These are jump stretch bands from Elite Fitness Systems. Anything, I mean, you can use the bands that have the handles on the end of it with the surgical tubing in the middle. Any sort of stretchy band will do the trick. So what you'll do is you'll flip your thumbs facing out this way. You bring the band behind you and you're going to pull it back. So now the band is trying to pull my arms together behind my back. So it's essentially doing the same thing as if I had a partner applying pressure on my forearms to draw the arms behind the back. So this one will give you, this one you have to force the stretch a little bit less. So you're just going with the stretch that the band is actually inflicting on you. So if you're comfortable with it, this will be a good progression. Again, you're holding for 10, 15, 20 seconds. So the way I would think about it is, if you don't have really any flexibility at all, I would start here because you can control more of it. You can control how hard you're pressing, and then you can work into using the band. There's a lot of thicknesses to these bands. So like this would be a thicker one. So if I wanted to apply more pressure, I would up to this one. But if I don't have a lot of control over my body and I don't feel very comfortable in this position, I'm not going to default to where something is now pulling on me. I want to be the one to guide the pressure to start. So I might start with the rack and then move to a band. If you have a partner that can apply the pressure, you're looking at the same idea as the band. You're basically just going to have them place their hands on the inside of your forearms and just draw you back here. Make sure you have a partner that you can stay in good vocal communication with, that they're not going to try to crank your arm out of your socket as they pull. It should be just a solid level of tension. They should be able to feel when it's time to stop. So they're not trying to touch your elbows together behind the back, they're just trying to get some pressure on there. But that's easy enough to apply prior to a workout, or if you're just feeling stiff and you're just putting it in between sets. An easy application for that, a lot of people especially will struggle with a pull-up getting into this position. More so, I think, than something like a row. And it's just because a pull-up requires a bit more of an externally rotated position of the shoulder. So if you're hanging from a pull-up bar, no matter what your hand position is, neutral, palms forward, supinated, there's still a bit more of a requirement to get the elbows out here than when you're pulling straight through into a row. So this would be a really easy place to put that, would be just between sets of something like a pull-up. Or if you know your workout's going to require a lot of pull-ups or pull-downs, put it before you train, get a couple of sets, get good range of motion in, and then go lock it in with the training itself. So simple enough, a couple of different variations of ways you can try it, but see how it goes.